I don't know.
because that speaks to the culture of a company or organization or whatever they say their values are.
The
So
complaints.
if they say their values are A, B, and C, and even if you were wrongly accused of something that completely is opposite of their values, they don't want to be associated with you, especially if you are a public face. You're not just somebody in an office somewhere, don't nobody know who you are. Yeah, you can continue your job, whatever. But if you are someone that's in the camera that someone's going to focus on and you're associated with this organization, in this case Ohio State, let's say these are popular football players on the team, so they're going to be in the interviews, they're going to be focused on whether you, I don't care how many touchdowns, I don't care what you was doing. And unfortunately, even though you're proven innocent, it's the accusation itself is against the values of the school as stated. So like Anton said, it's like, and it's so unfortunate because it's like if I get proven innocent, then my life should go back to the way that it was. But unfortunately, life is not fair. So it's not going to go back. And your reputation, regardless, is always going to be tarnished with that.
That goes where people get accused of rape or whatever, and they didn't do it, and like you said, people still look at them in that magnitude, even though they've been cleared, and it's just like they have defamation of character forever. It's like a character assassination. It's not fair because you maybe didn't rape that girl, and people still look at you like a rapist because it was a big case on TV, and they life forever changed. That's the sad thing. Super sad.
Well, that begs the question, though, right? Because we exist in an environment in 2023 that is based off of what it is that we've been seeing play out over the last 5 to 10 years, right? You had the Me Too movement. You had Believe All Women. You had a lot of guys that were accused that were just automatically removed, right? You had some women that came back, and we don't know, right? We don't know whether or not they were sexually assaulted or they weren't, right? We know that there are certain states that don't have a statute of limitations when it comes to civil, you know, pursuing somebody civil. And Mike Tyson is literally going through that right now, in which a woman from 30 years ago said that, hey, I got in his limo and I never said nothing, but I'm saying nothing now. We don't really know, but
see, you gotta toss that type of shit out.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
All that 30 years later. Sorry,
You remember all the details from 30 years ago.
that's
Do you remember what you ate yesterday?
So,
Stop.
like, we should legally institute. Like,
it should be a statute of limitation. Yeah,
Yeah.
it should.
well, so let me ask the question, and I want to come to Jess first, right? Because Jess is looking a certain type of way. Jess, do you think that there should be a statute of limitations? Well, first, let me come back, right? I'm going to come to that question in a minute, so hold that thought. I want to hit on something that Crimson said. Crimson said that she believes, and I largely believe a similar thing, right? And I say it too. She believes that if a person or a woman is found to be lying, let's just say a person. Often at times we see it from women because we see the allegations come from women. But let's just say a person. If a person is found to be lying, based off of an accusation that they make of a man to be doing something that he didn't do. We see it's a lot of guys getting released from jail today, every day, based off of the Innocence Project, because now we have DNA testing and somebody lied on them or whatever, right? But let's just stay with this particular subject. We're not going to talk about murder or none of that. If a person is found to be lying, what do you think should happen to that person? If it is determined that they were lying about whatever it is that they accuse somebody of. And second part of that question, will it prevent false accusations, or will it hinder women from coming forward that did have something for fear of, retaliation from the courts or from society in general? As far as making an assumption, but people don't necessarily believe it.
Well, I do think that making false allegations is criminal, right? Like if you go on the stand, it's perjury. Like you're not supposed to do that. If you file a police report that is untrue, there are whatever consequences there are for that. So I would probably weigh that same conviction with those same allegations. But also, I don't really believe in the criminal justice system, specifically as it relates to protecting Black bodies. So I don't buy into that ideologically generally. Okay. So I'm not a big fan of conviction generally. And then, but when it comes to most folks who have experienced rape, the majority of them aren't reporting anyway. And so when we start to nitpick and focus in on the folks who are lying and make that the center of the narrative, we're losing sight of the folks who are not reporting at all and who have been victimized, and why, when they do come forth, most of them actually see no results of their reporting. And that's why people don't report. So I think that we might be looking at the perspective of the conversation from a weird angle anyway. Like, I think that there are lots of victims who have experienced rape. Look at R. Kelly's story and what he's done with women in terms of being a predator in communities for poor Black women and kind of kidnapping them and having a sex cult for years under the radar. And nobody reported that, or nobody believed those stories. And so when we focus on this narrative from a perspective of these women are lying, we're losing sight of the people who are not being protected. But I would say that folks who do lie, yes, that is a crime. To answer the question, I do think that it should be treated in the same way that a filed police report would be, or maybe the consequences would be just as severe as someone who did commit the rape, if I did buy into a criminal justice system that protected Black bodies.
But see, the thing about rape is so,
and that's another question I have.
finicky.
How do you define rape?
It's so finicky just off of strength of the evidence and this, that, and the other. But I truly believe that if you are a victim, you have to come forward. You know what I'm saying? If you're a real victim, you have to come forward. But you can't say that you're a victim if you just didn't like it or something like that, or you felt a certain type of way afterwards. No, if you consented to this, you got to rock with it. But if you were forced to perform a sexual act that you didn't want and this, that, and the other, I personally feel it's your duty to come forward. Ladies, you can't, I know it's hard. Well, I don't know, but I hear it's hard. And you know what I'm saying? I done heard the stories. Well, I done had this conversation.
The magnitude of the situation.
Right. I done heard, because I done talked to women that said they've been raped before and they didn't come forward and they felt, this type of way. But I really feel it's your duty to try to at least protect the next woman, because it's going to be somebody else.